So your starting point, and then you subtract when you go down, and then you add when you go up. So there's our negative 5, our negative 12, and our positive 8. All right? So what I want to do here is I actually want to do the keep, change, change. So I'm going to keep my negative 5, I'm going to change to addition, and I'm going to change the sign. So I get a negative 5 plus negative 12 plus 8. And then what they do is they take the negative 5 and the negative 12 and they put them together. Yes, Josh?
Are you dividing?
We are not dividing, those are plus signs.
Oh, okay.
Does it look like a division or a plus in your book?
Yeah, in your book it looks like that.
Yeah, that's just because it's on the screen. So I take the negative 5 and the negative 12 and I put them together, and that's how they get the negative 17. And then negative 17 plus 8, and there's my answer, negative 9. So the seal's final elevation is 9 feet below sea level. So if we actually use this map up here, or not map, but number line, this is where the seal starts. He goes down down 12. Then he goes up. No, I'm wrong. Hang on. Yeah, down 12 and then up 8, and you can see where he ended. And so that's kind of how you would you could draw it out on a number line to see what's really going on. Pictures always help. So then the last question here, the seal's final elevation is 9 feet below. This is reasonable because the seal swam down more than it swam up. Right? So it started at negative 5, it ended at negative 9 because it went down more than it went up. It went down 12, it only went up 5. Alright? So questions on that? Because now we're going to try one ourselves. Alright, let me erase and move down. And we're going to talk about Anna. So Anna's in a cave. Yes?
Can I solve it?
Hang on a second. But we're going to take it as step by step, Torin. So I will, when we get there, I will definitely make sure you can say where she is. She's 40 feet below the cave entrance. Okay? And then she descends 13 feet and then ascends 18. So we've got some vocabulary here. If you're descending, are you going up or down? What do you guys think? Down. D for descend, D for down. So she descends 13 feet, that's a negative 13. Oh, and she's already below the surface, that's a negative 40. And then she ascends 18 feet, up or down? Up. So then I have a positive 18. So now I'm going to put these all together. She starts at negative 40, she goes down 13, and she goes up 18. All right? So I've got my initial expression, and now I'm going to do my keep, change, change, because I want to change everything to positive, or to plus. I want to add everything instead of having these negatives in here. So I'm going to keep, change, change, negative 40, change to addition, and change the sign of the number. So here's the reason I do that. For most of us, negative 40 minus 13 is harder than negative 40 plus negative 13 because this is same sign addition. We can see we put those two numbers together, a 40 and a 13. We keep the sign and add them, and then we have this. So, Torin, how far below the cave entrance is she?
35 feet below, because if you add, so if you subtract 10 from 53, you'd get 40, and then take 3 out of that 18, and then you'd get 40. Never mind, it's just 35 feet below.
Yeah, but I understood
I like
your
your thinking.
subtraction. Yeah, it's always good to hear other people's thinking and how they subtract in their heads. So 53 minus 18, he took the 10 away here, and then he had to borrow. It's hard to describe, but I think I could see what was going on. Here's the picture if you want to draw it on a number line. She was already at, let's see, she was already at negative 40. She went down 13 feet, but then she went up 18. You can see that she went past her original spot because she went down 13, but then she went up. And so this is where she ended at negative 35. So you can also see on a number line how that works as well. All right? Question. And that does make sense because the difference between 13 and 18 is 5. So she went 5 up more than she went down. And so that would make sure that she's above the cave entrance. Let's go ahead and turn the page. Applying properties to solve problems. So this page is really just all tricks. Tricks to make your lives easier, okay? Math has properties. Properties are the rules that tell us we can do things. And we have 2 rules. The first rule we have is a commutative property. We've talked about it. The commutative property of addition says that you can change the order. The other one we're going to use is the associative property, and the associative property says we can group things, okay? Those are the 2 properties I'm going to use. And so I'm going to see if I can make my life a little easier with those 2 properties. So this one is all about money. So the things you need to know about money are when you are spending money, you don't have it anymore, so that one's going to be negative. Anytime you spend money. Now we can spend money with checks, we can spend money with debit cards, we can spend money with cash out of our pocket, right? If you make a deposit into your bank account, that's when you're getting money. Maybe you get a paycheck because you're working, or maybe it was your birthday and a whole bunch of people gave you some money. Maybe you babysat, or you mowed lawns, or you pulled weeds. Whatever it was, you got money, that's going to be a positive. That's called a deposit. Okay? So those are the first 2 things you need to know about money. And you need some of that vocabulary. If you get confused about money problems, you can read right here, and it tells you what are positive and what are negative. So if you have money problems on the homework tonight, you can go back and look at this information to help you out. Okay? So we have Irene, and she has a checking account. She's got an account at her bank. On Monday, she writes a check for $160. You could also say that was a debit, whatever it is. She spent that money. So is it going to be positive or negative? What do you guys think? Say it louder. Negative. Am I going to have to make everybody say something?
Negative.
Yeah. So my 160 is going to be negative. She's spending that money. But then here she deposits $125. How much is that going to be, positive or negative?
Positive.
Yeah, that's my positive 125. And then she writes another check for $40. So if she's writing a check, she's spending her money, is it negative or positive?
Negative.
What do you say, Michelle? Negative or positive? Uh-huh. It's going to be, right, it's going to be negative. She doesn't have it anymore. So these are the 3 numbers I'm going to work with. And it says what was the total change in the amount in her account. So we don't know how much she started with. But we can see, did she spend more or did she earn more? So that's going to kind of help us also. If she spent more, she should be negative, right? If you spend more than you have, that means you owe. So let's see, here we go. We're going to put them all together. 160 plus 125 plus negative 40. Look how they did all addition this time. So they didn't just write negative 160 plus 125 minus 40. They went ahead and did the keep change change. Right there, they changed to addition and changed the sign. And so that's what they did here. They wrote everything using addition. Okay? So everything as addition. And the reason we do that is so that we can use these properties. These are the properties of addition. The commutative property of addition, the associative property of addition. We want to be able to use those properties. So we have to write everything as addition. Yes?
You would add, well, what I would do is I would add 40 plus 160, so you'd get negative 200.
Mm-hmm.
And then add positive 125 to negative 200.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd get negative 75 because 200 is greater than 125.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. So instead of writing it in this order, they use this commutative property and they switch the position of the 125 and the negative 40. So you can see it right here. So, Torian just said, well, I would put the 160 and the 40 together. They're both negative, that's okay. They're both negative, and so that way I can put them together. That's what they do. They use the commutative property in order to switch them, okay? Because 160 and 40, both negative, is a lot easier than 160 negative plus 125 positive, and then a negative 140 again. So this is a trick. It's a hint, or it's a little trick to help you so that you're always adding same signs if you can. Then what they do is they group these two together, they put them together as a negative 200, they add the 125, and then they get the negative 75. Not our bell. That means we got like 15 minutes left, right?
4 minutes. Because it says 11:40.
You're right, we got 4 minutes. I'm late. All right, so those little properties there are rules that we can use to make our lives easier. That's what we want to do. So let's take a look at the reflect. Actually, I want to go to number 3. So we have Alex, who wrote checks on Tuesday for $35 and $45. And then he made a deposit of $180. So let's talk about our numbers first. Is the 35 going to be positive or negative?
Positive.
It's a check. He's spending it.
Negative.
Yeah, and how about the 45?
Negative.
Negative. And how about this deposit of 180?
Positive.
You guys agree? Positive 180 for a deposit? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right, let's write out an expression. So let's put them all together. He spent 35, he spent 45, and then he deposited 180. So I'm going to change everything to addition. So I'm going to keep, change. So negative 35 plus negative 45. That's the same exact thing, right? Adding the opposite. And so I have a negative 80, because I'm going to put these two together, plus 180. How much money does he have extra?
Positive 100.
Positive 100. He has $100 more than when he started. Because he only spent 80 and he gained 180. So again, this is where you're going to put your positives together, your negatives together. Use that commutative property in order to make your life easier. Adding same signs are much better and easier than adding different signs. Eventually you have to, and here adding different signs, the 180 is stronger, so that's why the positive 1, and this 80 took out 80 of the health points, and that's why you had 100 left. Oh, my stomach's growling. All right, can I turn the page? Are we good?
Almost done.
Oh, sorry, there we go.
Sure you're taking those notes, because it's gonna keep your brains active and alive. If you just sit there and stare at it, it's not gonna sink in.
Well,
There's something magical about when it goes from your eyes all the way down your arm into your hand and on the paper, you remember it better. It is true. I don't know why, but it just, once you write something down, you see it, you hear it, you write it,
Yep.
you'll remember it more than if you're just sitting here staring at the board.
Well, the other thing is,
Before
then you have the notes, so you can look back if you're stuck. Sorry, Tori, what did you say?
I was telling Miss
Sanders?
Sanders that I solved it before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that does happen. Some of us get it pretty quick. All right, I want you guys to, before the bell rings, I'd like you to do number 3 here on the the guided practice. And then if you finish 3, I want you to try 4 and 5. And what I want you to remember to do is I want you to remember to, first of all, write your signs out, or, choose your numbers, whether they're positive or negative. So positive and negative numbers. And then you write your equation or your expression. Whoops. And I want you to do that in addition, right? Make everything addition. So you might have to do some keep, change, change. Michelle, you're not putting the book away. I'm asking you to do number 3, 4, and 5.
So how many, he
That's
earns
left
50
there.
points, is that positive or
And
negative?
now do 4 and 5.
That's positive.
Wait,
Okay,
what's
so
the
right
bell?
plus 50.
Okay, and put your mask over your nose, please.
Okay. And he lost 40.
It'll take
Is
you
that
5
positive or negative?
seconds to put your mask up in your backpack. So think about it, when you're playing a video game, if you earn the points, are they positive or negative?
So we're not solving it yet,
Yeah,
because
if
we
you
have
lose
more.
the points, negative.
I mean, I guess you could do that if you wanted to do one.
So did he have more points when he ended, or did he have less points? Positive or negative? And how many?
87?
All right, you guys are out of here. Head to lunch. We're all coming.